afternoon. I have invited another of my friends to speak with me about different stuff that you would love to hear. Let me introduce her to you. She's Fariba Zolfaghari, an entrepreneur, of course. She's the founder of Hubpreneur, which is a wonderful application she will tell you about. I'm not going to explain it. She has a lot of things in common with me. We are both passionate about what we do. We love doing lots of things, so it's impossible for even us to define ourselves. She's a host and co-organizer of FunDXB. I'm sure a large number of you have been to FunDXB events because they've been amazing in past few months. She loves supporting change makers in entrepreneurship, so she must be helping a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure. She's a community creator and manager as well. She has her own tribe that resonates with her objectives in her entrepreneurial endeavors. She's an events manager too. She's been hosting X number of events, just like I do. And we've been coordinating in many of our events together too. You must have seen a few selfies as well on social media to give you the evidence how to know about us. So, Fari, how are you?
Hi, Nushin. I'm well. I'm well. How are you doing in this unusual times, shall we say?
Yes, these are unusual times indeed. I'm doing very well, just trying to do some exciting stuff all the time, inviting all my friends on board. Come and talk to me. We are going to have a record of that.
Good. Good.
Because we have to stay connected and we have to keep the vibe going. We cannot say that we are not able to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. No, we will say, yes, we can do it and we will do it every day.
There you go. And that's what I love. You have yes in your brand logo. You have it wherever you go. It's it's yes golf. So it's at the end of the day, it's very easy for us to come out with many excuses because I don't have time, because I have too many client meetings, because I have too many commitments. Right now, we have time. So to do things like this, I'm really thankful that we actually are able to create this. And I love these ideas. I'm all about connecting and creating. It's just now we have to create it differently. So if this is the way we need to connect, then this is the way we need to connect. And then you never know, it could actually birth brand new ideas of how we can take things online and give more of a accessibility to people who were not able to come to the events that we were holding in the physical terms.
So many of them,
this could even be better. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as we have to pivot with the way that the world is going and the needs of our audience, the needs of our clients and customers, this is what we have to do. So this is the essence of entrepreneurship. You have to be able to be flexible and go with the flow. This is testament to that at the end of the day, I think.
Yes, true. Okay, Fariba, I want to start with some information related to Hubpreneur. It's a lovely, very easy to use application. And Fari will tell us about this.
Sure. I mean, the concept of the whole mobile app, it was what I was doing in real terms with regards to living my LinkedIn profile in real terms. So wherever I was going, people were always introducing themselves and their business and their services to me. And then they were asking me to refer them to somebody else, or people were asking me, do you know a graphic designer? Do you know a photographer? Do you know a business coach? Do you know a mental coach? All these different things. And I always used to say, yes, I do. So it just came to me that I have so many people within my network, and let them find their own partners. Let them find their own tribe, if you like. Let them connect and see what they can create themselves. So one of the main elements for the mobile application was to bring together the people I knew who are business owners, entrepreneurs, freelancers, aspiring entrepreneurs, the people who are already working within a company, but they have that entrepreneurial mindset. They just haven't found the right idea, or they haven't put into place the concept of the business plan of what they want to launch. So those people were always surrounding me, and I found myself always around that kind of audience. So I realized, let's put that into the mix. And what else can I add? Well, I'm always either hosting events, I'm organizing events, I'm facilitating events, I'm doing workshops, I'm doing so many of these things. Bring that into the mix, because I realized there are a lot of people who are hungry for information, and there are a lot of people on the other side who are excited and enthusiastic to share information. So again, it was bridging the gap between the ones who wanted info and the ones who were giving info. Let them connect to one another through the events. And I love bringing people together. So the whole concept of phase 1 of the app, it's self-funded by me. It has 0 investors. I did that specifically to prove people wrong, that you don't need to bring an investor on board to launch an idea. Funnily enough, I had a business plan. It's changed so many times. I've stopped even thinking about business plans anymore. So again, I'm literally just scratching all the myths that people gave me as excuses to why they couldn't start their business.
I'm going to give you a title now. The Mythbuster.
Go on then. Yeah, there you go, Mythbuster. Why not? I'll take it. I like that one. I can take that.
Really,
I like that idea.
Right now, you proved right now 2 of the myths don't work.
Yeah, you don't. There were so many. It was, I don't have the right branding. I don't have the money for branding. If I told you the way that I came up with my branding, I went on Canva. I just searched for logo template, and it came up with so many things. I picked the color. I was like, boom, here we go. That's my logo.
Oh,
I mean,
right. Like this is the way we should, like, nothing should stop us. If we want to do something, we shouldn't have excuses. And I know a large number of entrepreneurs do not start because they are short of finances, or they are struggling with ideas like how to build resources to do this, to do that. So you're not, like, you should not let the lack of resources or limitations on resources stop. Should be unstoppable.
Yeah.
There is a solution somewhere for you that you just need to put your finger on, push the button, and have it.
This is exactly what everything that I've been working on for the last couple of years when it comes to events. And I'm the moderator of panels, which include I've had over, I think, 95 entrepreneurs. And they range from different scales of startups to serial entrepreneurs to experienced and seasoned entrepreneurs. And listening to their stories of what went wrong, listening to how they made the wrong decisions and where they could have done it differently and how they could have operated from a different mindset, that together with my journey as a coach. So I started coaching because I wanted to understand the principles of learning the way my mind worked and what is the best mindset for me to have to be at my highest potential. And through that journey, I realized I'm learning all this information. Why not understand the principles and the fundamentals of coaching so I can transfer this information to other people who are experiencing the same issues as me? So that, in combination with all the lessons I was learning, I realized bring them together, and people need to be shown that it can be done. So I said, you know what, with this mobile application, let me show them that every single excuse that you can name, and I was the queen of excuses, like I was giving 101 excuses to why I couldn't start a business again, why it failed, why should I do it again, why it failed, and it was the blame game, until I realized it was me. I'm the common denominator. So when I thought to myself, I'm going to demystify all of these myths, if you like, about if you fail, should you do it again? Yes. If your idea failed previously, should you pivot and do it again? Yes. Should you bring on board investors? Not necessarily. Should you have to invest a huge amount of money? Not necessarily. Do you need to have a secure lockdown business plan? No, you don't. Do you need to have the most amazing marketing and branding behind your brand? No, you don't. Do you need to have a huge amount of money for advertising? No, you don't. I mean, it's just, the list goes on. And I realized it's the basic fundamentals. You need to come up with a good idea that is authentic to you, that you can literally do it with your eyes closed. That's number one, because when you don't have a huge amount of resources being financial, you need to go to your MVP and then go below the MVP. So you have to go to the MVP of the MVP. Get it to the basic phase 1. When you get phase 1, you have to then launch with the most effective but yet the most minimal version of your idea. And my idea was like huge. It was grand. I had expanded to the GCC within 6 months, and I had, I was going to be going global and doing webinars on a global scale. I mean, it was a huge idea, but the way you have to scale it down allows you to do it without huge investment, which therefore means you take out the risk element to a place where you feel comfortable enough to launch. And then I launched, and I had bugs coming out of my ears. I didn't know anything about the tech side, and I thankfully trusted the tech team that I had a very long conversation with, we connected because they understood what I was doing. They were also a small business. So the whole relationship has been about collaboration. And
Okay.
I basically said to him, look, I know this is basically going to charge at least 4 times what you're charging me, but let's work on this as a phase, milestones, and let's do it in that when we can do this, other people can know they can do it too. So let's go with the trust and faith in one another. And we did. And I think the collaboration that we came up with has been the cornerstone of everything that I've been doing. I love connecting people to collaborate on whatever projects they're working on. If there's someone has an idea and they need someone to help support and, you know, excel that idea or launch the idea or scale the idea, why not? Let's
Why
not be
not?
afraid of sharing our ideas. And I've had a lot of ideas that just were not working for me. So I gave it to other people and it was like, this is not going to work for me. It could really work for you. And they took it and they ran with it. So I think this idea of not being scared of ownership and also allowing yourself to collaborate with people allows you to get out of the fear zone of what am I going to do, when am I going to start, what if it fails, and then expand that thinking into, you know what, this could go completely wrong, what if it doesn't, and let's go with that intention and let's go with the trust in myself that I'm giving this everything I've got and let's see what happens. And then you have to remain flexible. I think it's more easy to say it than to do it. And especially in these times, I mean, you're experiencing the same thing. Our pure bread and butter is one-to-one interactions and events out there where we can connect to a wider audience. That's not
Exactly.
possible these days. So we really have to dig deep and figure out how we're going to pivot from this situation and what can we do that's true to us, but is able to maintain our business. Because at the end of the day, however many free things we do, we have to earn, generate our income. Otherwise, it doesn't become a business. It becomes more of a charity. And I am not going to go down the road of providing everything for free, which is what Dubai has to some degree become. Everyone is so used to having everything for free. When you put a price tag on it, they're like, I
Difficult.
don't think I'm going to pay for that. I mean, why should I justify why you're going to? And I'm like, wait, do you pay for your food? Yes, you do. Do you pay for your services? Yes, you do. This is a service. So I have to pay for my food. So let's come to a mutual agreement. And at the end of the day, Hubpreneur was born as a free download. So there is no level of subscription. But in phase 2 and 3, that's when the subscriptions came in. And I think I have to now fast track because it has to then become an income generator. And to be honest, as many other business owners have experienced, because it's self-funded, I had to work on simultaneous projects for me to be able to create the income to be able to pay for this myself. So it had to be paused for about 3 months, which wasn't ideal, but it's one of those things. Either I bring an investor on board and I go full in, or I say I am my own investor and I will do it in the time that is suiting me. And I will, juggle different things. I will do other projects to be able to fund this. And this is one of the things that we have to do. There is an element where you either take the support from an investor and everything that comes with it, the timelines, the deadlines, the questions, the continuous. Yes, they will have a say in what you're doing. It's your business, but it's their money. So I don't need to be answering to anybody, which is exactly why I said I don't need that. And I choose not to go for it. And I've had people who've already come on board and said, I want to invest. And I said, I thank you for the support and I thank you for your for sharing my vision. But I'm not looking for investors because I respect you as the person who is a successful business person in your own right. But right now, I need to grow this in the way that I see it. So let me do it. It might be slow, but it's going to be done and it's going to benefit the wider community. Because I'm always listening and taking on board what advice people are giving and what is it they're looking for. That's the whole way that I created it. I did so many events in 2018 to do research with regards to what do people want, what is it they need, and how can I serve that in a way that hasn't been done before. And through that research, I came to realize that it was very different the way I was doing it, bringing on board people who are not that well known in the bigger scheme of things. But I realized that I have to be creative in my flow of selecting my speakers, selecting the process, that it's not going to be a 3-hour conversation where one person is giving a presentation. That's more of a workshop. It's going to be more of an interactive seminar where you come in, you hear 3 different speakers for 40 minutes, you receive the information you need at whatever level you are, and then we do a Q&A. And that seemed to work. So it became something that I realized the events aspect of the app was very easy for me to do. The connection aspect was also very easy. So it just became a natural flow.
It was easy for you to do because of your experiences, because you were already in that ecosystem where lots of events were around you or you were hosting them. And then there were more relevant people around you who wanted to be connected because you were into networking yourself. So it's very important for every entrepreneur to be around the people where her idea resonates, so that he or she is able to materialize idea easily and get the information.
Yeah, this is what I meant and what I was referring to when I said keep the idea authentic to you. If I was going to suddenly go into construction and create I don't know, a mobile application or a business based on construction, I don't know anything about construction. Doesn't mean I can't do it. I just know that it will be harder for me to execute because I will need to have the right people who are the experts in their field. I am not an expert in construction, but if I want to run, yes, and at the end of the day, yeah, it's a lengthier process because you need to bring the right people on board. For me, thankfully, I already had the idea, I already had the connections, I already had the network, and I was just expanding the community. And I was serving them in a way that I already had tested the market. I got the feedback, I did my amendments and my pivoting, and then I brought something out. And I'm still continuing to pivot from what originally, because originally the Hubpreneur idea concept was bringing the concept of personal development and coaching to the entrepreneurial ecosystem, because people were not understanding how important it is to have coaches by your side and through your journey. It is a difficult journey to experience, and we're all hearing about how amazing it is to be successful and the unicorns and all of this, but the majority of people are not unicorns. The majority of startups don't make it after the second year, even the first year. The statistics are pretty high, which are against us. So the way to combat that is not by getting a super duper powerful business plan and the best investors on board. It's about getting your mindset right. It's about getting your support system right. It's about finding a way that you can become strong within yourself. So when situations like this are happening, we're dealing with closures globally. We're dealing with supply chain issues. We're dealing with projects that were approved to be canceled and rejected. And it's a situation where you have to keep your wits about you. You have to keep a strong mindset. That's always have a part of the entrepreneurial journey, but we are tested continuously. Now the world is testing us. And I think it's a time where we have to respond in a way that we are ready, we are in this, we are getting stronger because we're building ourselves to create a better business. And why not take this time to reach out and help one another? If you are running a program and I'm thinking, this is a brilliant program, I will happily promote that, because if it might not help me, I'm sure it will help at least people that I know in my hemisphere. So that's the least that we can do. And I think this is the concept of camaraderie and companionship and community and connection is this. This is why we are doing what we're doing, to bring people together. And I think knowing what you know through the experiences you've had makes you better at what you do. So if you choose the line of business, whatever it can be, I'm not an expert in tech at all, but I am an expert in connections, in creating and cultivating community, and in events. Yeah, so I'm going to focus on that. It's just the platform was a mobile application, and that's when I brought on people who had the same vision and the same idea, had the competencies, and we launched.
It came out very well, by the way, Fari. I must congratulate you on this, because it's so easy to use and it's so useful. Like, we find so many different events through it. And I hope that in future, when we are organizing more events, inshallah, it's going to be a great platform for everybody, because
I hope so.
Yeah. And there is some feature related to venues as well, like you can find venues. I think there is
Not
something
yet.
like that.
Ultimately, what I wanted, because it was basically the events aspect was for me to promote the events that I was doing. But I also realized there's so many people who are doing amazing events. Why not promote them? And workshops, seminars, and all of this. So I started just not making it about my events, but about events in general. So it was a little bit like Eventbrite, but more about the events that were focused on entrepreneurship, either personal growth or business growth. And it was more about developing yourself on a professional level, starting a business or scaling a business. So the concept of where it's going to go, I was going to be bringing on board a lot of recent graduates to do a lot of either the ones who are interested in discovering freelance work, or the ones who are looking to do some sort of I've forgotten the word now, it's completely escaped my memory. Like literally I'm having like a blank moment. I'm trying to remember the word and I can't remember the word. It'll come to me eventually. But
About
I
internship?
basically
Was it internship?
interns. There you go. This is why I love you. You see how we got there? Interns. It went blah. But yes, there was basically one of the people who was crucial in the creation of my concept. They basically have an existing app called Lock and Stock. And what one of the founders or co-founders, Mustafa, we sat down and we were having a really interesting conversation. And he's recently graduated. He's part of a group of founders who are so enthusiastic about what they're doing. And they now have over 25,000 students on their platform. And I said, look, how many of these people on your platform are interested in internship and getting on board either paid or unpaid internship to experience different forms of working environments, startups, and all of this? And he goes, there's quite a high percentage. And I said, let's collaborate. That's one of the things that I want to bring on board, because I get asked by so many people, can you recommend interns to me? And I'm like, yes, but I cannot vouch for them. You have to do that screening yourself. And here is the connection. Off you go. So internship is one thing I definitely want to put on board. Different levels of venues, because I already do a lot of work with various different venues. And I'm always asked by people, so can you recommend a venue for my workshop? Can you recommend a venue for my seminar? And this kind of, and I was like, I'm not a Yellow Pages or a Google to come and say what I can say to you. These are the venues. Go ahead, connect with them. You will get preferred rates because you're coming through the app, and go ahead and explore. So these elements I've been doing on the side, and they're definitely going to be put on board, because after all of this is said and done, we are going to resume. I don't think we're going to go back to normal, because I don't know what normal is anymore, but I know we will get back to some form of normality where we will have access to what we used to have, maybe in a different way. So venues, for sure, I think it's something that would benefit, me, you, and so many people like us. Co-working spaces, because look, right now we've had to co-work, we've had to be able to
We
be
have
remote
to,
working.
yeah. And
It's
in
just,
such a different way. This is
yeah,
co-working, you and me.
exactly. I mean, I've done this already in so many ways. I
Yeah.
just haven't done it for such a long period of time. When I had to have meetings where people were not physically in Dubai, then we did this. But now to have these kind of calls when you're only a little, a short drive away, it's just the
Seriously.
way we have to work. So we have to go with it. We have to just see how we can work through this. But co-working spaces and how that's all going to work out, I don't know. But there's going to be a lot of things available online, which is going to benefit the remote worker, the entrepreneur, the kind of concepts that I really want to kind of cultivate more is flexibility
Yeah.
and collaboration
Collaboration.
and authenticity. Because at the end of the day, I'm meeting so many amazing, incredible change makers, and I call them change makers because they are creating change in either disrupting their industry, or they are creating a level of discomfort for the ones who are the big players. And it's a time where you can't just shrug off startups, because the startups there's so many of them coming into the scene, not only in the UAE but globally. And then
Globally,
they're
yes.
coming to, they are flying into our radar, because you can't deny that there is a a growing trend, and the numbers and the statistics are always there to support the fact that people are going on their own. They have ideas and they're not afraid to launch. They might
They
fail,
have to.
yes, but they're taking the risk. And I
Yeah,
think that element is going to come out even more with the level of redundancies that we're facing. People are
exactly.
constantly worried about losing their jobs. But at the same time, once they've got over that initial shock of, oh my God, I've lost my job that I've had for the last 10 years, which is a conversation I had with a friend of mine just yesterday.
Yeah.
I had said to her, you knew this was on the cards and you already had planned your next step, which was starting your own business. Get on with it. This is now your clear path is in front of you.
And you know your story of how you started with Hubpreneur and how you built the app and how you went on without investment, without the right, let's say, a fixed plan, and you evolved it into a system on your own with your own idea, with the way things were flowing, is an example for everybody right now who wants to build their idea. Everybody who has an idea, doesn't have the funds, and is looking to do something, they can just start right away the way you did, and
Yeah.
things will flow into and get into place, and that ideation will have a reality, and they can start earning.
You're right. I can't say that it's always going to be a happy ending because I'm not at my ending. I'm just at the start of my journey with this current startup. But what I can certainly say is with the ideas that I've had, there were a few that failed. And one of my early startups that I had was called Dubai Connectors, which was half or 50% of Hubpreneur is about connection at the moment. But when I had that first initial startup that I did in 2016, 17, it failed miserably because it was the right concept, wrong time. So I can't say that everyone is going to just, come up with a genius idea and it's going to go. You have to try. You have to just make that initial decision to, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do it. It might work, it might not, but I'm still going to give it a go. And I think that those are the stories that people tend to not think about. They just think, okay, well, I'm going to come up with an idea and I'm going to launch it and I'm going to basically spend very little amount of money, but it's going to be a success. And I hope it will. But in realistic terms, you might not get your idea first try, second try, third try. And I've been doing events since I was in university. It just wasn't my plan of action for my career. It just happened to be because I realized I'm very good at it and I enjoy doing it, so I can make money from it. And I realized my ikigai was exactly that. The connection of people is what the world needs. It's what I'm good at, and I can make money from it. So let's get on with it. And that's when I stopped getting my own way from being distracted by, but I need to have a full-time job and I need to do this. And no, do it. And it was a very long journey of complete uncertainty. I had no idea what I was doing and I had no idea if it's going to work. And it was times where I didn't travel for a couple of years. I had no holidays. I didn't do anything in regards to, spending on myself or anything like that. It was about just knuckle down, get on with it, focus on the idea, think about what you're doing, try different avenues, see what works. And now it's the idea has taken shape and it's just the start. So I'm glad that you are enjoying it and I'm glad that it's working for you, because if you do have an idea and you don't know how to launch it, the app is the best way. You connect to the right people. If you need a brand
Yes, I was about to
logo,
say
if
that.
you need, it's the best way that your idea can start to materialize. And then the next level is if you need someone to support you along the way with regards to that coaching or element of support, I'm going to be adding an entire element where it's all about the level of support through coaching, mentorship,
Okay.
support circles that you can tap into, because I've realized through all the events, there were so many people wanting to share their story and it wasn't the right time. We didn't have the bandwidth for people to say, well, I had this experience, and that it was more about they had to ask a question from someone who was a speaker. And I just realized, but people want to share. Let me give them the platform where they can actually just say, I had this experience, it didn't work out. Does anyone else have any tips for me or whatever it is? This kind of, you need to allow it to flow. So I realized support systems and networks are needed, and they're not really around so much, especially for entrepreneurs. They are for different genres and different demographics, but for business owners, it's more about how to be successful and how to create the next big idea, rather than how to deal with the rejection, how to deal with the concept of you might have to give your proposal to 5 different people and none of them are going to take it, they're just taking your ideas. You might have to deal with the element of having to give your idea to somebody else to know that you have to trust it. It's dealing with so many issues of, you know, being judged for your idea, being late in delivery, being rejected for whatever your proposal was. All of these negative emotions that we experience, we're not taught how to deal with them. We just are told, you know, you're anxious, get over it. You're feeling nervous, it's okay. You're concerned about this, it's forget about it. It's more about learning how to deal with our emotions so we become emotionally intelligent rather than just not figuring out what's going on and just suppressing everything. It doesn't help us. And I did
Yes.
emotional intelligence as one of my courses because I needed to understand emotionally, where am I? Can I even
Yeah,
name my emotions to understand where I am, to be able
exactly.
to be the best that I can be in anything that I'm doing? People don't grasp the idea of how important it is to know yourself. And I think
Exactly.
that's one of the main aspects that I definitely want to bring into the entrepreneurship ecosystem. People to know who you are before you start doing any kind of business. Figure out
Yes.
your strengths, your weaknesses, do a SWOT analysis. I did it for my clients
And
when I
you
was
know,
coaching. Do a SWOT analysis for yourself.
yes, yes. And if somebody is afraid of building their idea into a system, into a business, we like yourself and myself, people who have some experience, people who have taken the leap and have seen how it goes, we can always offer help. Like we are always there, just a phone call
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So,
This
so
is,
yeah.
you said, you took the words out of my mouth. This is what I constantly keep saying. And yesterday I did an Instagram live chat where I literally was just putting out there, I don't know how to deal with everything that's going on, but I'm just sharing with you that you are not alone if you're feeling the same as me. And the feeling of being connected to people again, it was like I was having an actual event in my own bedroom. It was incredible. And I think it was done from my own personal need to connect, but at the same time I knew, because I kept getting messages from people who were like, you know, how are you dealing with everything? I'm not doing so great. Can you recommend me this? Can you suggest me that? And I was like, of
Yes,
course I can. Please know you are not alone. You are not alone. There is
exactly.
an entire collective of people who are feeling the same things as you. We do not have it all figured out, so let's not pretend we do, but at the same time we cannot also keep pretending to be positive, because reality is, there is fear out there and there is uncertainty out there. So we need to be
Uncertainty,
able
yeah.
to handle these emotions and keep going. I keep saying it's not about, you know, being positive. It's about staying strong and keep going. You just have to keep going. However you do it, you have to keep going, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. And knowing
Exactly.
that we're not alone, we are part
Yeah.
of a bigger community,
And
somehow gives us that
sometimes,
level of support.
yeah, and sometimes it's not possible to sort things quickly because they're not in your control. It takes time. They take their own time. And that stands true for now. So we shouldn't get frustrated. We shouldn't try to sort things out when we all know we cannot. So the only thing is that we need to go with the flow, be confident, stay positive, keep doing your thing. If you want to build something, some idea into reality, do come to us. We will help you. There are no charges for anything at all. We are here to
Yeah.
stand by you.
Yeah. And I think the more that we come together and offer that support and that, you know, level of service which people are craving, people still want to be connected. They want to feel part of a community. They want to belong. And once we have that and we feel it in our hearts and we know it in our minds, everything becomes manageable. Everything becomes bearable. We can find solutions rather than fearing what's going on, because we feel connected. And I think this is one of the most beautiful concepts that comes out of crisis, that somehow people start coming together and they start reaching out and supporting the people that maybe they would never have thought about. Maybe they would never have, you know, said hello to them. Now there is a level of, hi, how are you? Like, I don't even know who you are, but are you okay? And it's just that, knowing that people are around, they're there to help you, it gives you that level of comfort. And I think knowing that you're safe and secure are the things that we don't have right now. we don't feel safe and secure, which is why the level of uncertainty and anxiety is getting out of control for so many people. And then you see on the flip side, everything on social media is about, I'm very positive, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I just keep looking, thinking, I'm great. It's fantastic that you're doing this, but there are so many other people who feel bad because they're not on the same page. And we have to stop this comparison, because it's not helping us mentally or emotionally at all. If you're not doing it, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means you're on a different journey. Find something that keeps you going, whether it's working out at home, which I'm doing, whether it's cooking now and again, which I'm doing, whether it's doing these kind of things, which I'm now really enjoying so much. And it just, keeps that momentum of, you're still you're still living, you're not just surviving. And that's the very fine line between right now being in panic and being in, just be patient, keep doing what you're doing, and everything will start to work out. We don't know how, we don't know when, we just got to have faith that it will. That's the only thing that I can say. The level of positivity is wavering. I do the roller coaster every single day, but at the same time, these are different situations and different times that we've never experienced before. I know my parents dealt with war in when I was young, with the Iran-Iraq war, and I don't remember much of it, but I was talking to them and they were sharing with me their fears, their moments of, are we going to get through this? And we're now doing the same. It's not war of being, under attack from another country. It's being under attack from something we don't even understand. So we cannot see it, we cannot point at it, we cannot know it, we just know that it's there. And that's even more scary. So it's a very unsettling time, but I think we have to change our mindset from, oh my God, what's going on, to what can I do to remain centered and remain calm and focused on what it is I want to achieve, and keep going. And there's so many people coming out of, I'm seeing people who are chefs, and there are people who are workout queens and kings, and they're all coming out with genius ideas, and musicians. And I'm like, I didn't know you had this. And they're like, I haven't played the guitar in so long. I haven't got a painting out and done a canvas in so many years, and I haven't started cooking in so long. And people are going back to the realness which we miss. And I'm getting the goosebumps now I'm talking about it. So I'm like, this makes me remember this. It's taking us back to who we are. And I think forget all the
we actually now have
blah
the
blah.
time. We actually now have the time to indulge and enjoy.
Yeah. Indulge in the basics. I mean, look how the world is gone into, it's gone inside out, because we've now have the time to literally enjoy the basics. So we were so fixated on what we have to do and where we have to go, and all of this technology is allowing us to do so much, but it's also stopping us from connecting to ourselves. And that's one of the things that I think this whole pandemic is bringing out in people, connecting to ourselves, connecting to our loved ones, connecting to our wider community. And that level of connection is something that we should really cherish, because I think without that, we can very easily become robots like that. That's the difference between us and robots, that sense of empathy and connection.
True. All right, thank you so much for your time, Fari. We had quite
I've really enjoyed it. I can't believe it's over. Whoosh, it's gone.
We can do another one about something different.
I think I would love that. And this time I'm going to actually invite you, so you could be my co-host. I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Anytime you like. For now, yes, we should both go for lunch.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
You take care.
You
Thank
shared
you so
a lot
much.
of information. Yeah. So we are going to share your social media here now in the tags below. So you are on Instagram as.
So on Instagram, you can add my personal one, which is Fari_Zolf, and also Hubpreneur. They both have Instagram accounts. And then you can do my LinkedIn, which is just Fariba Zolfaghari. And that's enough. I don't do Facebook. I haven't even, I actually think I should. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to get onto Facebook or not?
I think that I'm getting a lot of engagement through LinkedIn, and that brings me a lot of satisfaction. So my Facebook was there. It's been there because the company's Facebook is attached to my personal.
Okay.
So it's actually used by office now.
Ah, okay, I see.
So that's why when I say I don't use Facebook, means that I'm personally not there, but it's being used and monitored by my office.
Got it.
So
Okay.
yeah, they're taking care of it. But it's a good way of doing your live videos, and you
Yeah,
can get very quick building of your audience on Facebook, because it's a very whole platform, and a lot of people are
yeah.
still listen to lives. And I believe lives on Facebook are easier than on LinkedIn, because
Probably, yeah. I don't think like in LinkedIn is made for live. It's just I don't think it's developed to that level. But Instagram and Facebook seem to be very good with the live